Could we please stop pathologizing normal human behavior? Like I'm infuriated. And infuriated in this like place of like deep care. I've had some client conversations recently, and I feel really sensitive to the way that I see people um, damning themselves, um, damning like bad patterns and baggage and ways of being. And so I guess the like a thing that I want to say is that like you are not broken if you have patterns that don't serve you anymore. You are not flawed if if you're not perfect all of the time. Like as I'm even saying this, like it sounds like when I break it down, it sounds so ridiculous to me. This idea that we've like somehow internalized this this like perfect way to be human. And if you don't conform to that, then you're the broken one. Something wrong with you. Um, it's not my area of expertise, but I'm like from what I understand, like I imagine this is like part of this kind of like popularizing of therapy speak. Um, but what really worries me about it, especially with perfectionists, because we're so easy to kind of make ourselves wrong and like push these like aspects of ourselves away, and it creates this like internal distance, this sort of internal split, and these things like go into our shadow and then just run the show subconsciously because we're so desperate to like not do them and they're doing them anyway. um like I don't know anybody that has made it to like this point in their life. So I'm in my early 40s, maybe in your 20s, your 30s, your 50s. I don't know anybody who's like made it to adulthood that is not a little bit fucked up in some way. Like even like the most uh perfect versions of human that I can imagine. I and you know, I know some people that like seem to be rocking life. I also know that they have their own like fucked upness. Yeah. And like I mean, this is like one of the problems of like the social media age is that we only ever see this kind of like the perfect presentation, you know. Even somebody like me, and I try to be open about like things that are difficult or like I you don't see the days that I spend like binging Netflix because like that's the only thing I feel capable of. I don't put that on social media. Um and I think it just continues to damn and shame these parts of us that are messy and human. And I'm not saying that you like want those things, those parts, those patterns to run the show. Like, of course not. I don't want to only have like one way that I can be. But one of the things that one of the very first things I do with clients when they come and they're kind of like wanting to cultivate a different way of being, and often that's like, I'm done with perfectionism, Vix. I want to do something different. Before we get into anything new, is to spend some time like really acknowledging the ways that these patterns and behaviors have have shown up. Like, what have how have they served you? What's the gold there? And you know, to also recognize where that's become an overdeveloped strength and the painful consequences of those ways of being. But to start with a little appreciation, like congratulations, you made it this far. And sadly, not everybody does. I'm sure, well, I know I have lost people along the way. Um, so well done for making it to today. Um, you didn't have to. And so these parts, and no matter how painful they are, they're they're doing their best. They're doing their best to like look after you and keep you safe. And so I think coming in it from that place, so let me give you like a concrete example. Um, Somebody I was talking to recently was sort of talking about how they they have this fear of making mistakes and they didn't want to feel like that anymore. And I totally get that. They were like, oh, well, I have to get rid of that. Like, I just have to get rid of it. Like it's just, like an old bag you can throw away. And I get it. Like I get not wanting to be in that awful state of putting pressure on yourself that you can't get anything wrong. And what I offered is that there's a time and a place for that. If I take a more rounded version of that, a more balanced version of that fear, and having an eye for detail, caring about accuracy, um, wanting things to be a particular way, that's really useful. That's a really useful tool in the autumns of cycles when you're editing and refining and yeah, like finishing something off before you send it out into the world. Like ensuring that you have like quoted somebody accurately, for example, or um I'll share a way that I made a mistake recently. My new book came out recently, and I was inviting some reviewers to comment on a social media post, and um, I was repurposing some templates that I used for my first book, and I forgot to change a link, which meant people were like commenting on a post that was 2 years old. I was like, I had to go around and re-email it again. I'm really sorry, but like, please use this link. This is the correct one. Like, had I taken a little bit more time to like double check everything, like that would have been really helpful. But it doesn't mean I'm gonna like hang out and like beat myself up for making a simple mistake. Like it can be okay. Um, yeah, so actually I could have done with a little bit more of that kind of energy in that moment without wanting to be stuck in it, without wanting that to kind of govern me. So I guess what I want to say in conclusion of that, like it all gets to be here. Like at least this is my take, that we are messy human beings. We are capable of greatness and we are capable of absolute mediocrity and worse. We're capable of loving things and building things, creating things, and we are also capable of hatred and destruction and violence. That that's what it is to be human, is to be with all of it. And the thing that is making the biggest difference in my life is um, not jumping on the shame spiral that makes me wrong for being human. Yeah, that's the thing that keeps me stuck. Oh no, I made a mistake. Oh no, okay, well, people are going to think terribly of me. And then I've been in those places like literally for minutes, hours, days of just like fixated. I'm like, oh no, I got it wrong. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. And then I don't do anything. Like it's not helpful. The more that I can soften and be like, okay, I'm meeting reality as it is. Like I made a mistake. Okay, got this thing wrong. I wish I'd done that a little bit differently. I don't like this thing about me. Okay, great. So I can be with that. I can be with the reality of this is happening. I can be with my feelings about it and my desire for things to be different. And it is in that meeting, it's like Carl Rogers, I'm going to forget the exact quote. It's like, the irony is when I accept myself, like that's when I change. And that's where it has to start. We have to stop beating ourselves up for being human. We have to stop pathologizing um, normal human behavior and assuming that means we're broken. I don't think it does for the most part. I think it means we're human, and I think that's okay. So I would love to hear what you think. Do you agree? Do you have a different take? What's your experience of meeting yourself as you are versus beating yourself up for being human? So comment below, send me a question. I'd really love to hear from you, and I will see you next time.